Walking your puppy on a loose leash, no tugging or reacting to stimulus, is one of the most desirable behaviors for every puppy owner. But unfortunately, a tiny percentage of puppy owners ever achieve this goal. The main reasons are improper technique, lack of training, and the wrong equipment. My new book, Leash Training Your Puppy, will teach you a simple and effective method for loose leash walking. You can get it right now on Amazon using the link in the show notes. It's Leash Training Your Puppy. Available now in Kindle ebook, paperback, and audiobook on Amazon. I'm Dale Buchanan, and this is Puppy Talk, the podcast that offers free advice and tips for raising a happy, healthy, and obedient puppy. For more information on this podcast, visit us online at puppytalkpodcast.com. Welcome to Puppy Talk episode number 101. I'm your host, Dale Buchanan, and on this episode, I want to talk about whether you should get another puppy or not, or another dog, whether you have one dog already, or two dogs. Maybe you've got three dogs and you want to get another dog. I'm not going to tell you what to do in this podcast. What I will do is I'll highlight the pros, cons, misconceptions, and the facts of owning multiple dogs. Before we get started, make sure that you refer to the last podcast that I did regarding financial responsibility for pet ownership. I go into the cost of owning a dog and also touch on owning multiple dogs and how expensive that can get. Also consider the podcast that I did in January 2024 right here on Puppy Talk about littermate syndrome. This episode highlights the importance of being well-informed about getting two puppies at once. Let's get started with this episode. There are two pros to getting a second dog when you already have one. The first is that your current dog will have a playmate, a friend, and a companion. This is usually the number one reason why most owners get a second dog. The next pro is for personal reasons that you will have the love of multiple dogs. This is very comforting to a lot of humans to have affection from more than one dog. This is another reason why a lot of dog owners get more than one dog. Let's talk about the cons of getting a second dog. First of all, consider the financial responsibility, the food, the vet bills, equipment. Refer to the last podcast episode I did discussing this in great detail. The second con is the time it takes to manage and train multiple dogs. Most people think you can train both dogs together, but in the facts that I list at the end of this podcast, I will explain that you have to train each dog separately. You have to walk two dogs at once, and this can be challenging for most owners. Most of the people that I train have multiple dogs, and they don't know how to walk two dogs at once in a civil manner to where they are following them and not playing all the time. The next con is that you have to think about transporting two dogs at once, and this can be a challenge. One dog may be bigger than the other dog. One dog may be in the back of the SUV. One dog may be in front seat. You might put both dogs in the back seat and they might play all the time. And this can be very challenging and very frustrating to the owner and also a liability if you are driving, and this could be a safety hazard. So you have to think about that. The final con to owning multiple dogs is that they will always want to play, even when you want them to be disciplined. And 70% of my clients are people that have multiple dogs, and all dogs are out of control. No dogs are trained. They just don't know what to do. Everything is chaos. So I have to go in, creating a plan and structure, train each dog separately, and teach them how to use management techniques to keep each dog calm and relaxed while in the house. Some of the misconceptions of having multiple dogs. 1, dogs will not necessarily teach other dogs. A lot of people get a dog thinking, adult dog will teach my puppy how to go potty outside because I'll let them both go together outside and the puppy will watch the older dog go potty in the grass, so the puppy's going to go potty in the grass and never have an accident in the house. That is not true. It's the owner's responsibility to train a puppy to go potty outside, not your other dog. Misconception number 2, dogs need a companion at home. This is absolutely false. I have Dixie. She's 4.5 years old. I've had her since she was 10 weeks old. She does not have a companion at home because when she's at home, she's relaxed. She's on her bed. She's chewing her deer antler. She's always calm. And she has a daycare that she goes to 3 to 4 days a week where she can have play, enrichment, socialization with other dogs. This is her outlet, and she doesn't need a companion at home because she's getting plenty of companionship at the daycare. The final misconception is that you can train one dog and the other dog will follow along. And this is absolutely false. You cannot train one dog and expect the other dog to watch and learn. Every dog is different. Every breed learns differently. The age of the dog will learn differently. Training a puppy is completely different than training an adult dog. Adult dogs have brains that are more developed. They can learn faster. Puppies need to learn very simple foundational things first and foremost, such as stopping the jumping and the play biting and being rambunctious. Adult dogs are going to be much sharper, much more focused. So you don't want to have one dog teach the other dog or train one dog and think that the other dog is going to be able to be trained. You have to train them both separately. And finally, the facts of owning multiple dogs. Like I've already said, each dog will need to be trained separately. 70% of the clients that hire me are people that own anywhere from 2 to 4 dogs, and I explain to them on the phone before they hire me, each dog needs to be trained separately, and then we can start working with them together once they have a good level of basic obedience and discipline. The next fact is owning multiple dogs is a lot harder than it seems. This is always true. People think that if I raise one dog, I can put another dog into the mix and raise them both. It's going to be as easy as one dog. It's not. It's not double hard if you have 2 dogs. It's 10 times harder if you go from 1 dog to 2 dogs. There's so much to do with 2 dogs that it's almost borderline stressful to most people if you don't have good leadership skills and have everything set in place with management and have the dogs be trained immediately once you get both of them into the house. The third fact is that all dogs do not get along. The first thing you want to do when you bring a dog into a house where you currently have a dog is to make sure that they get along. For example, let's say you have an adult dog that's 4 years old and you want another puppy. You're thinking, if I get another puppy, this puppy will be the companion of the adult dog, and the adult dog will mentor the puppy and teach the puppy a whole bunch of good stuff. Chances are that's not going to work very well because you've got an adult dog who's calmer and more laid back, and the puppy who's very rambunctious, very outgoing, overstimulated all the time, has ADD, just all over the place. And this puppy wants to play and romp around, and the adult dog wants to take naps. So how well is that going to work out? You got to think about this. If you get a 3-month-old puppy and a 4-year-old dog, the age difference is going to be, in human years, about 30 years old to about 4 years old. And that's a big difference. What are those two going to do together? Not a whole lot. In review, having an older dog and getting a younger puppy usually does not work very well. In review, having an older dog and getting a young puppy usually does not work very well. Like I said, most of the calls I get are people with multi-dog households, and they don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to train each dog separately. They don't know what each dog needs based on their breed, and so on and so forth. And finally, I'll just say that if you're going to get another dog when you already have one dog, put a lot of time and a lot of energy into thinking about the exact breed, the age, everything about the dog that you're going to bring into the house when you already have a dog in your house. Everything can go wrong very quickly, Very rarely does it work out 100% perfect and smoothly from the get-go. I hope this information was helpful to you. If you have any questions, you can contact me through my website, puppytalkpodcast.com. Have a great day. This is Dale Buchanan, host of Puppy Talk Podcast. I have an announcement of a new book that I just published called Potty Training Your Puppy. It's available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback, soon to be available on audiobook. You can find out all the details of this book using the link in the show notes. It's called Potty Training Your Puppy. It's a comprehensive book with a simple and effective way to help potty train your puppy, and it really works. Check out the link in the show notes.